Good evening, YouTube. It's your girl, Fair Play here, back to do another podcast / recording. I apologize for not being on video, but of course it's late. I got my bonnet on my head, and we just gonna do it this way. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to come to you and just bring you couple of little news clippings that came across my desk. I get a whole lot of stuff, but these are the ones that kind of just, I guess, momentarily jumped out at me. Aside from all of these horrendous and awful shootings by these mass shooters going on around the country, it's a terrible, terrible thing. I'm sorry to hear about it and to know about these things. I'm not surprised because I knew it was going to get worse before it can ever get better. It's going to get worse. It's unfortunate, but it's true. While y'all's president, who is a mess himself, watch as he tears down the United States. You are not going to know the U.S. as it is today when he gets done with it, And so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time rehashing those stories. It's sad, and my condolences go out to the family, friends, and all of those that were affected by the shootings. It's just a sad thing. And I don't want to, put an air of gloom over this recording, but my heart does go out to them. My heart is broken about these things. I need y'all to know that up front. But anyway, I want to go on. One of the first things that came across my desk, the Kennedy family, they have a legacy that has been rife with lots of tragedy, lots and lots of tragedy that goes way, 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 way back to the oldest brother of John F. Kennedy back in the 40s. That family has had a time. They are rich, but there's no true happiness to be had for long periods of time because so many things wound up happening to their family. And I believe it all stems from the great-grandfather, and that would be that Joe Kennedy, the father of JFK and Robert F. Kennedy Sr. I think he did so much dirt in his day that his entire family is now basically dealing with the consequences of the wicked seeds that he sowed in his lifetime, y'all. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, when you get a moment, go and just Google and do some research on the Kennedy family. There are many, many documentaries out there on YouTube. There are many writings and books that were written about them from people that know them. Check it out and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Well, the latest tragedy here, I think the last tragedy was one of the other children of Robert F. Kennedy was killed in a skiing accident. But here lately, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., let me see. Let me make sure I got this right now. The young lady is Robert F. Kennedy's granddaughter. So it's Robert F. Kennedy's Jr.'s child, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Let me make sure I got this right. No, it's Robert F. Kennedy's granddaughter by his daughter, Courtney Kennedy Hill, who is married to a man by the name of Paul Hill. This young lady was born in 1997. Again, she is the granddaughter of Robert F. Kennedy, who was the brother of JFK. He got killed 5 years after his brother did in 1968. Well, his granddaughter, Swarcy, I'm assuming that I'm pronouncing this correctly. Her name is Swarcy Kennedy Hill. She was found unresponsive at the Kennedy compound in Massachusetts at Cape Cod, allegedly from a drug overdose, but they have not gotten back the results of the toxicology report, but they feel pretty sure that this is what has killed her. And it's a sad, sad thing. Like I said, a sad tragedy. Allegedly, she was not a big partier. That's what they say, but they did say she suffered with depression. Obviously, clearly something was wrong. And one day this young lady just decided to take her last drug, and it took her life. And it's such a shame. So sad. Every so often, something like this occurs in the Kennedy family, and it's just a sad thing. And I just wanted to mention that the Kennedy family is one, like I said, that I have done a lot of research on. I have kind of kept up with some things that went on with them, and because their family is very interesting. It's an interesting state of affairs surrounding the Kennedy family. And again, if you get a moment, take some time and go all the way back to Joe Kennedy, his marriage to his wife, and all of their children, including JFK and Robert F. Kennedy, and look at all the things that have occurred. And if you look at his life and look at the legacy that he left, you'll begin to understand why so many tragedies have likely occurred. Or you would likely understand why so many tragedies have occurred in his family. So anyway, I just want to say, there you have it. Sad state of affairs for the Kennedy family. Okay, the next thing I wanted to bring up, there was an American Idol contestant back in, I want to say 2004. Excuse me. Her name is Antonella Barba. She has pled guilty to federal drug charges. I mean, I know a lot of people watch American Idol. I don't keep up with it particularly. I know some of the contestants, of course, the ones that have won and have been successful: Jennifer Hudson, Fantasia Barrino, Kelly Clarkson, and many, many others. But this young lady, again, her name is Antonella Barba. She's a former contestant on American Idol, has pleaded guilty to federal drug charges and is expected to serve significant prison time. Barba pleaded guilty on Tuesday, July 30th, to conspiracy to distribute heroin, fentanyl, and cocaine. Her sentencing is scheduled for November. Barba, who is 32 years old, faces a mandatory minimum 10-year prison sentence with the possibility of life and a $10 million fine, People magazine reported. The plea agreement found in the U.S. District Court, Eastern District of Virginia, also included forfeiture of assets and at least 5 years of supervised release, NBC News reported. Excuse me. The singer made it to the top 16 of season 6 on American Idol. Y'all, I was wrong, not 2004, 2007. She made it to the top 16. She is also a former Fear Factor contestant. It says Barba was arrested in October of last year in Norfolk, Virginia, after police officers acting on a tip approached her vehicle and discovered drugs. A K-9 indicated the presence of drugs, leading to a search of her rented vehicle and the discovery of a shoebox in plain view on the front passenger floorboard, according to a statement by federal prosecutors. The officer opened the shoebox and discovered a plastic bag containing a large quantity of a white rock-like substance, the statement read. Upon forensic analysis, the substance was determined to be 830.9 grams of fentanyl. At the time, criminal defense attorney Eric Corsland said she disputes that she knew there were drugs in the car, according to the Asbury Park Press. According to the Courier, Barbara is reported to have been acting as a courier. She was acting as the courier instructed to deliver the fentanyl to a stash house in Norfolk. 2 others, Justin Michael Isaac and Raul Christopher Stennett, were also charged in the case, according to NBC. Now, in February of this year, Virginia officials dropped the state drug dealing charges against Barbara as she was met with a new federal indictment. At the time, she had been out on a $50,000 security bond since late October, APP reported. But since the indictment, she has been in federal custody. The indictment listed 11 federal charges, including the count of conspiracy to distribute and possess cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl with the intent to distribute, and 10 counts of distribution of possession of cocaine, heroin, and fentanyl with the intent to distribute. The drug scheme operated from 2017 to October of 2018. Good grief, they gave her so many charges, and she's looking at so much time and such a big punishment for what doesn't seem like that big of a deal as far as drugs are concerned. But hey, I don't know much about drugs, but boy, they throwing the book at this girl. They really throwing the book at her. They saying she could get a minimum of 10 years. So she done plea bargain for a 10-year sentence, a minimum of 10 years, and 5 years of supervised release, and the possibility of paying back $10 million. I don't know where she's going to get it from. I really don't. So that is a shout out to Mimi the cat. Girl, you asked for it, and there it is. Kanye West, you know, he has built some dome-like structures allegedly for the homeless, okay, because he owns some land in Calabasas, California. Well, now he could possibly be violating building code, and the city of Calabasas could literally force him to tear down these domes that he has probably spent millions to build. Kanye West planned to build a futuristic egalitarian community that bridges low, middle, and high-income housing has hit a major roadblock, and it could result in the prototype homes being torn down. TMZ broke the story. Kanye had 4 dome-like prototype structures built on the 300 acres of land that he owns in Calabasas. He hopes to create a whole community of new age homes, dome-like structures that break class barriers. But here's the problem. We've learned several neighbors have complained to the LA County Department of Public Works, and after inspectors came out to the property, they determined that the project violates the building code. And if he doesn't get the property permits by September 15th, the structures must be torn down. Here's what we know. On July 18th, one of the neighbors contacted the department and said that there was construction on the property late at night. An inspector came out and spoke with the site manager, who said the domes were part of a production, that they were temporary structures. If they're temporary, building permits are not required. The department got another call from a neighbor a week ago, again complaining of construction noise. The inspector came out again and saw the domes were sitting on top of a concrete slab. For that and several other reasons, the inspector determined that the structures did not appear to be temporary. So as a result, plans and building permits are required, and Kanye and company has never applied for them. So the Department of Public Works is now demanding that Kanye and company submit plans and get building permits within 45 days, or else. The or else is to tear them down. A source close to Kanye tells TMZ that the structures were always intended to be temporary because they're simply prototypes. The source says they are in touch with the county and intend to comply with the requirements. And the source adds that the concrete base was necessary to secure the structure for safety and structural reasons, but will eventually be removed along with the structures. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe him? Why would he build temporary homes for the low income and homeless people? Why would they be temporary? Y'all believe what Kanye said, or you think he lying? Some don't sound right to me. That's just what I'm saying, y'all. Okay, here's a feel-good story I came across on Sunday. Let me read it to you. This is about an ex-Trump supporter who now wants to apologize to Obama face-to-face, but of course he had to settle to do it on Twitter. But he wanted to apologize to Obama on his birthday for the hate that he gave him. He admits that he did racist things to President Obama, or he said racist things. He admits that he has racist tendencies. A vocal supporter of President Donald Trump, who has since flipped his views, wrote an apology on President Barack Obama's 58th birthday on Sunday for hate that he directed at the former commander-in-chief when he believed that Trump's accusations and had racist tendencies. August 4th is the birthday of President Barack Obama, he said. I thought long and hard what I could give the 44th president of the United States as a birthday present, wrote former Trump supporter David Weisman in a blog published in the Times of Israel. He said, if I had the option, I would give him a sincere apology for the hate I gave him when I was a conservative over the years during his presidency. Now, Mr. Weisman, which is an Army veteran who stopped backing Trump in early 2018, wrote that he was foolish and closed-minded not to question the demonizing of Obama on Fox News and other conservative media outlets. Since day one, when Barack Obama announced his presidency, there was a not-so-good feeling in my stomach of the thought of him, a black man, being president of the United States. Weisman admitted to Newsweek that I've realized in this transition that I did have racist tendencies. No, baby, you was a racist. But I had the same feelings with immigrants and Muslims, he said. He attributed his past racist tendencies to conservatism and listening to conservative pundits. In his letter, Weisman shared that he began engaging in political activism soon after 9/11 and that the first talk show host he ever watched was Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly of Fox News. Weisman explained that he brought into claims that media outlets that were not conservative were fake news. He believed all the lies of the birtherism theories that Trump put out and spread about Obama, and now this man is sorry for everything that he ever said about Obama. He stated, I've learned especially about white privilege. I see when Obama talked about conservatives, he was right and mainly wanted them to see what it's like to put on the shoes of black people, Muslims, anyone that's not in the conservative closed mind bubble.